Hello, hockey fans, and welcome to another episode of the AJHL Playoff Show. My name is Brendan Ewanchyshyn from the Spruce Grove Saints, joined alongside Nathan Crosby from the Brooks Bandits. And let's dive right into it. The Brooks Bandits, what a series that was against Okotoks after their 20-day break. The Oilers put up a heck of a fight, but Brooks takes it in 6 games. What did you see in that series?
I saw a pretty strong effort from Okotoks, and finishing fourth in the South Division, wasn't a great end to the regular season, but they sweep Camrose in the first round, and I think had a lot of momentum going into that series against a Bandit team that, like your team, Brandon, had a large break in between the regular season and the second round of the playoffs. And I think that was a really good series for the Brooks Bandits. In years past, when getting that first round bye, the second round usually there's an upset, and that team has kind of had their big series win and the Bandits take care of them quickly, but that just wasn't the case this year. And Okotoks played hard. They were close games. They defended well. Parker Saka and Ethan Barwick, it was a great goaltending battle between the two. Low scoring games. I mean, out of all the games, they were 1 and 2 goal games outside of game 3, which was a 5-2 Bandit win. But certainly Okotoks deserves some credit for the way they battled in that series, pushing Brooks to 6 games. And I think the Bandits learned a lot from that series. Talking to Brendan Poshak, who I thought was really good for Brooks. He was on a line with Kalen Fitzpatrick, Heath Armstrong, and I think they really drove the offense for the team. And Poshak said to us after game 6, I think we learned that it wouldn't be handed to us. And so a good lesson for the Bandits moving forward.
Yeah, you talked about it, the biggest gap, only 3 goals in 1 game. Other than that, it was very close. Fantastic crowds, I'd say, on both sides. Sam Hawk really stuck out for me for the Oilers. He was really good in the playoffs, not only against Brooks. I think he finished with 10 points overall. Your top guys showed up as usual. Wallace, Malinowski, Fink, that line combined for 13 points in the series. Malinowski, I think, had a game winner throughout. And you alluded to it already. The goaltending was good. Barwick just 1 save better. A 911 save percentage, fantastic. And Okotoks, just a tough start in game 6. Gave Brooks a couple odd man rushes. Brooks able to capitalize, and the Bandits able to kind of settle it down and retain the lead and take the series. All right, the other series, which went to a game 7. And before we talk about the series, how exciting has this playoffs been compared to, let's say, the last 5 years? We haven't seen game 7s very often, and we've had 2 already in this playoff run so far. And going now into Blackfalds and Drumheller, I was lucky enough to go to game 7 in Blackfalds, and what an unreal atmosphere. 1,500 plus in the Eagle Builders Center. It's one thing to work hockey games, and as well as I do, be focused on with a headset, and you're trying to direct the game presentation, see what replays coming next, etc. You can't really focus and take in the moment. But for me to go as a fan and just sit back and take it all in, it was a really good atmosphere. And at times it was like, oh yeah, I work in this league, and this is very impressive showcase by the AJHL, by both teams, to put on a game 7 like that. But into the game, Matthew Hennessy was rock solid. Jason Seedham, a game 7 hat trick. I'm sure he's going to remember that for a long time. But at the end of the day, the Blackfalds Bulldogs pull it out. You watched the series a little bit closer throughout the first 6 games. What did you think in the other South semi?
Yeah, I echo what you said about the crowds in both arenas. I mean, the Memorial Arena in Drum was packed, and good to see in Blackfalds as well. And pretty intense series, and a pretty big roller coaster of a series, considering you had some blowouts. Drum won a blowout game chasing Hennessy in Blackfalds, but then the reverse happens in game 5. And I thought that game 5 was a very pivotal moment in that series. Drum up 3-1 in this series, looking like they're about to head to the South Final for the first time in almost a decade. And then game 5 just didn't go their way. And you knew goaltending was going to be so critical in that series between Garrett Fuller and Matt Hennessy. And Blackfalds, to their credit, rose to the occasion. It's quite a story for the Bulldogs. You look at, this is just their second year in Blackfalds, and here they are going to be playing in a South Final. And we all remember how their season started last year, and they've certainly come a long way. They've recruited well, and they look to be a real strong contender. And this is my 10th year in the league. I don't remember a lot of game 7s, and we've had 2 now in this playoff. Pretty exciting hockey for these fans, and nice to see all these communities supporting these series. It's been a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, it's been incredible. You alluded to my last point, just what a turnaround for Blackfalds. Last year they got beat up pretty badly by Brooks at the start of the season. It was not a great score, but fast forward to the end of this season where we're at now, they're competing against Brooks in a South final. So a heck of a turnaround for a team that's just in their second season overall in the AJHL. And speaking of Blackfalds, here is the interview with Brett Meerman.
The Blackfalds Bulldogs this week knocking off the Drumheller Dragons in 7 games. I'm joined by Captain Brett Meerman. So Brett, you guys pulled it out, 3-1 down in the series, but you guys managed to come back, win games 5, 6, and 7. Game 7 at home, 5-2. How'd you guys come back? What was the room like after Game 7, knowing what you guys just accomplished?
Obviously, it was really good. The whole time we stressed on believing in each other and believing in the team and trusting the process. So I feel like that's what we did, and it worked out in our favor. So
you guys have the Brooks Bandits next, 2-3-1 record against them in the regular season. So they had the edge, but it was only a slight one. Are you guys confident going into this series?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we know they're a good team, and it's not going to be an easy task. But I think we can play with anyone in this league, and yeah, we're looking forward to this.
So you and your top line produced pretty well, but probably what put you over the top against Drumheller was that secondary scoring. Cody Willick, Jack Pondowski, Connor Dick all stepping up in big ways. What do you have to say about the way your team rallied and the way everybody did their part?
Yeah, it was huge. Obviously, we had a couple guys out with injuries, a couple guys out with suspensions, stuff like that. So we talked about that in the room. Guys got to step up, and obviously those young guys stepped up in a big way. And yeah, like you said, like that was a huge reason why we got past Drumheller. So hopefully we can continue to do that.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Brett.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks to the Blackfalds Bulldogs and Brett Meerman for setting that up. Looking forward to the Bulldogs and Brooks Bandits meeting for the first time ever in the South Final, which begins Friday in Brooks. All right, let's move up north now and talk about the North Division. Really excited for the final in the North, Brandon. But before we talk about that, let's talk about the 2 semifinals. Let's start with Spruce Grove playing the Sherwood Park Crusaders. We were talking about Game 7s. The Crew went 7 games with Fort Mac in the first round. So obviously they were, a tired group heading into a tall task taking on the Spruce Grove Saints. It goes 5 games. It looks like a pretty low scoring series. Looks like Zach Onescu was really strong in the Spruce Grove net. That was my takeaway. What was yours?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Onescu was outstanding. He leads the league right now in postseason goalie stats. Remarkably good. A .958 save percentage, a 1 goals against average right now. For the Saints overall, I think the rust maybe was a little evident early in the series. It was very close all in all. I give the Crusaders a ton of credit. Their D-man moved well. Eric Bruce was no slouch in their crease all series. And Evan McPheeters, for being a rookie head coach in the playoffs, definitely held his own. That team on the Sherwood Park side is going to be very good for years to come, especially with young guys like Carmelo Crandall. He was very impressive to watch, and he's going to be great for the league throughout the next couple seasons, being he's only a 2005 born. Similar to, I guess, the series you had with Okotoks, each game was only separated by just 2 goals, except one, which was 4-0. You look at special teams in the series, I think that was the biggest factor. Spruce Grove went 3 for 16 on their power play, which isn't fantastic, but the games that they scored power play goals, it proved to be critical in the games that they ended up winning. And then you look at the PK, it went a perfect 25 for 25 against Sherwood Park, which I think is remarkable. Maybe you don't want to give up that many power plays to the other team, but at the same time, it builds a lot of momentum when you can go 100% on a PK throughout a series. As it went on, Game 5 was big here in Spruce Grove. Great crowd as usual. We're so blessed here with the Saints fans. The big guys scored up. Luigi Benacasa, Caden Chabot, Breck, McKinley, Brophy Dunn, the leader, stepped up and got it done with a big win here in Game 5. Spruce Grove took it in those 5 games, but overall it was lots of fun to watch, and it was a very close series. I give the Sherwood Park Crusaders a ton of credit.
Yeah, and it was interesting to see both Spruce Grove and Brooks had the long bye, and neither came flying out of the gate there in the second round, but got the job done. Speaking of the Spruce Grove Saints, let's hear from one of their star defensemen. Here's Breck McKinley.
Joined alongside Saint defenseman Breck McKinley as the AJHL playoff show continues. Can you just take us through the Sherwood Park series, what you thought ultimately in the 4-1 series win?
Yeah, Sherwood Park gave us a good test. They played heavy all series, and yeah, we got to give a lot of credit to our special teams. Our penalty kill was really solid. We capitalized on the power play a couple times, and yeah, our goaltending, Ani, was really good for us, and yeah, I think that's what made us successful.
Yeah, 3 for 16 on the power play, 25 for 25 on the PK. What do you think's better, a perfect penalty kill or a good power play with a couple goals?
Yeah, I think the penalty kill is it just builds so much energy throughout the game, just killing off penalties, always knowing that, we're solid on that, and even if we go down a couple guys, and yeah, it's just so nice to have that.
You scored a big goal in game 1. Can you take us through the atmosphere of that moment and throughout the series in both barns, packed crowds, especially in game 5? It was a wicked atmosphere for you guys to play in front of.
Yeah, it was awesome. It's always easy to get energy here in the Furzy with all the fans that bring so much energy. And yeah, Sherwood Park had some good turnouts, and we had our fan bus go there, then bringing energy on the way rink. So that was nice to see.
As the playoffs roll on now, you guys got the Bonnyville Pontiac starting this Friday here in Spruce Grove. What have you seen from them? What can you expect from them here in the North Division final?
Yeah, they're a very fast, skilled hockey team. I think they have a lot of similarities with Sherwood Park, so we got to kind of play the same style. They have a good power play, so we got to shut that down. And yeah, I think we just got to play heavy and stick to our game.
Luigi went down in game 5 for a little bit. So did you. Brophy took a couple big shot blocks, but you guys come out. Luigi ends up scoring a big goal in the second period after he came back. When you look at your fellow leaders and they're able to do stuff like that, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, it's infectious for the group when seeing leaders do that, and everyone just kind of wants to get on their level. And when Luigi came back and scored that huge goal, it was just huge for our group, build a lot of energy, and yeah, it was just so nice to see.
Breck, appreciate this. Good luck here in the next round.
Thank you.
Good stuff from Breck, McKinley, and Brandon. We got to talk about the other semifinal in the North Division. I think ended maybe sooner than we thought it would. Whitecourt against Bonnyville in the 2-versus-3 matchup. And credit the Bonnyville Pontiacs, who didn't exactly have a short first round against the Bobcats. They eliminate the Wolverines in 5 games and looking pretty impressive right now, Brandon.
Yeah, like you said, maybe a bit surprising to some that Bonnyville ends that series in 5 games. They defeat Whitecourt and the AJHL Coach of the Year in the semifinals. They were very good throughout the series, Bonnyville. They won games 1, 2, 4, and 5. Jack Budd, what a pickup he was by Bonnyville. He was great at the time that they got him, but even more evident now as the postseason rolls on. He's got 16 points now, 3 points alone in game 5. 2 goals, 1 assist. So he was outstanding throughout the series, and he's a defenseman, mind you. And then Mateo Giampa, red hot as well. He's now got 17 points in the postseason, 9 total points in the Whitecourt series, and the goaltending. We talked about it on the last show that Cole Tisdale got some time in the cage, as obviously did Bodie Weiss, but now Bodie Weiss has taken the reins. He played all 5 games in that series, and he looks like he's the man for the rest of the postseason. And Mario Pouliot, and maybe an underrated coach in the AJHL. He was a back-to-back Memorial Cup champion, and he's proving his own now as he sends the Pontiacs to the North Final for just their second time in their 30-year history. So congratulations to Bonnyville.
Yeah, the community must be pumped, and there's going to be some massive crowds, I think, here in all 4 locations here in the Final 4. So the division finals are set. We'll just end it here, Brandon. We got Brooks versus Blackfalds in the South. Bandits winning 4 out of 6 against the Bulldogs in the regular season. And then up north, Bonnyville had a good regular season head-to-head with your team, the Spruce Grove Saints. Just what you'll be looking for this weekend.
Yeah, you mentioned the last point exactly. I think when you look at the Spruce Brooks perspective, you're playing the 2 teams that gave you the hardest time in the regular season. So it's going to be one heck of a semifinals league-wise across the AJHL starting this weekend.
Can't wait for it. Brandon, great job. Fans, see you at the rink.